These Presto Precise digital pressure canners are the first electronic canners with the large jar capacities of traditional 16 and 23 quart stovetop canners. Made of heavy-gauge aluminum, they are durable yet lightweight. The canners also meet USDA guidelines for safely processing vegetables, meats, poultry, and other low-acid foods. Plus, they double as boiling water canners for preserving fruits, jams, jellies, pickles, and salsa. Both methods use recipes with standard processing times and temperatures as defined by the USDA. Presto Precise digital canners are available in multiple sizes, including these 16 and 23 quart liquid capacities. The 23 quart model will be used in this video. Except for jar capacity, they function the same. This step-by-step video guide will demonstrate the boiling water canning method. Before beginning your canning session, refer to the Getting Acquainted section of the instruction manual for directions on cleaning and assembling your canner. Remove the sealing ring and wash the cover, sealing ring, and canning rack in hot, soapy water. Reinstall the sealing ring in the sealing ring groove, making sure to fit the ring under the stop tab on the inside rim. Wipe the canner body with a damp cloth. Become familiar with the cover and its various features, including the pressure regulator and vent pipe, which together help control the pressure inside the canner. The pressure relief valve and the overpressure plug are safety devices that automatically release steam in case the vent pipe is blocked. The pressure regulator and overpressure plug are used for pressure canning, but not for boiling water canning. While the canner comes with the air vent cover lock pre-installed, the parts can loosen during shipping, so it should be checked to make sure they are still firmly screwed together. From time to time, the air vent cover lock should be removed for cleaning. It consists of two pieces and a small gasket that must be in place for the air vent cover lock to seal completely. The upper portion is marked top and is inserted from the top of the cover. Be sure the small gasket is on the cup-shaped bottom piece and place the threaded portion through the hole from the underside of the cover. Screw on the cup-shaped piece. The two sections tend to spin in the cover hole, so it will be necessary to hold the top section while turning the bottom portion. Be sure the air vent cover lock pieces are firmly screwed together. Check the vent pipe by holding the cover up to the light and looking through the vent pipe to make sure that it is clear. The instruction manual includes specific instructions for using the boiling water canning method to preserve a wide variety of high-acid foods, including fruits, tomatoes, salsa, jams, and pickles. Let's get started. Always use a research-tested recipe and never alter the ingredient proportions. Select fresh, firm produce and wash and prepare it as directed in the recipe. We're canning tomatoes, which are unique because they can be canned using either the boiling water or pressure canning method. We will be processing them using the boiling water canning method. Prepare the food exactly as directed in the recipe. We will use the hot pack instructions for processing in quart jars. This 23 quart liquid capacity model will hold a maximum of 7 regular or wide-mouth quart-size mason jars, 10 regular-mouth pint-sized jars, or 8 wide-mouth pint-sized jars. If you're using the smaller 16-quart model, it will hold the same number of pint-sized mason jars, but it is not tall enough to accommodate quart-sized jars for boiling water canning. Gather the canning supplies you'll need. Wash and rinse the mason jars and bands. Use only jars and bands that are in perfect condition. Examine the jars for nicks or cracks. Inspect the bands for rust or dents. Always use new lids. Now, turn to the boiling water canning section of the instruction manual. Put the canning rack in the canner, feet side down. Jars will be placed on the rack. If set directly on the canner bottom, they may break. Add 3 quarts of tap water, which will reach the fill line. Using hot tap water will shorten the heating time. Plug the canner into a 120-volt outlet. Pressure can will flash on the display. To change the program, slowly rotate the control knob until Boiling Water Can flashes. Press the control knob to select that mode. Boiling Water Can will stop flashing and remain illuminated for the entire canning process. Rotate the knob to set the time for the specific boiling water recipe and jar size being used, in this case 45 minutes for tomatoes in quart jars. However, when boiling water canning at altitudes above 1,000 feet, see the instruction manual for the appropriate increase in processing time. Press the Advance arrow and Insert Jars will light up. Fill the jars half full with water to heat the jars for canning and place them on the canning rack. Never use the pressure regulator and overpressure plug when boiling water canning. Place the cover on the canner, aligning the V mark on the cover with the inverted V mark on the body handle. Press down on the cover handles to compress the sealing ring and close by turning it in the direction shown on the cover, clockwise until the cover handles are above the body handles. Press the Advance arrow and Warm will light up. The progress bar will begin scrolling to indicate the canner is heating. Jar warming will take 20 to 40 minutes. Times will vary based on the number and size of the jars being warmed. During this time, assemble the ingredients and equipment and complete the food preparation according to the recipe. Also, heat at least 3 quarts of water to boiling for later use. More water may be needed if the canner is not filled to capacity. When the canner beeps twice, fill jars will light up. The jars are now preheated and the canner will keep them warm until you are ready to fill them. Turn the cover counterclockwise until it hits the Stop tab. Lift the cover towards you to keep any steam away from you. Lift out 1 jar at a time and discard the water. For tomatoes, acid must be added to the jar when using both the boiling water and pressure canning methods. For quart jars, add 2 tablespoons of bottled lemon juice or 1/2 teaspoon of citric acid. Add 1 teaspoon of canning salt to the jar if desired. Fill the jars with tomatoes, leaving 1/2 inch headspace, and fill the jars with hot cooking liquid, again leaving the 1/2 inch of headspace as directed in the canning recipe. All recipes will indicate the amount of headspace necessary for the food being canned. Headspace is the airspace between the top of the food or its liquid and the jar rim. It's important to release air bubbles from the jar and to wipe any food particles or liquid from the jar rim. Then center a flat lid on the jar rim, making sure the sealing compound is touching the jar rim. Position a band over the lid and using your fingertips, screw the band onto the jar until resistance is met. It should be fingertip tight. Do not over-tighten because air must be released from the jar during processing and cooling. Place the filled jar straight down onto the canning rack and repeat the process until all the jars are filled. Using the boiling water you prepared earlier, pour additional water between the jars and the canner until the water level is at least 1 inch above the jars. Place the cover on the canner, aligning the V mark on the cover with the inverted V mark on the body handle. Press down on the cover handles to compress the sealing ring and turn the cover in the direction shown on the cover to close until the cover handles are above the body handles. The regulator and the overpressure plug should not be on the cover. Press the Advance arrow and Heat lights up. The processing time set earlier appears and the progress bar continues to scroll as the canner heats. Once the required canning temperature is reached, the unit will beep twice, and canning will light up. The canner is now processing and the progress bar will stop scrolling. The timer will start to count down. You will notice air and steam releasing from the vent pipe and overpressure plug opening during the processing. You'll also hear boiling. The progress bar will light up in sections. It will increase in length as processing time continues. The Presto Precise digital canner holds the proper boiling water processing temperature automatically. There's no need to watch or adjust settings. When processing time expires, the canner beeps 4 times. Cool lights up, and 5 will appear on the display. At this time, carefully remove the cover. Lift it towards you to avoid steam and bubbling water. The timer will count down during the cooling period, and the progress bar will scroll to indicate the canner is cooling. When the time expires, the canner will beep 10 times, and Done will light up. Press and hold the Cancel button for 3 seconds. Using a jar lifter, carefully remove the jars by lifting straight up and placing them upright on a towel. Do not retighten the bands. Allow the jars to cool naturally for a minimum of 12 hours, but no more than 24 hours before testing to see if a vacuum seal has formed. To check the seals, press down on the lid. It should be concave and not flex up and down when pressed. If a jar fails to seal, it will audibly flex up and down. Refer to canning basics in the instruction manual for a remedy. You now have 7 quarts of boiling water canned tomatoes, safely preserved using the Presto Precise Digital Pressure Canner. Be sure to read the instruction manual and recipe carefully before each use. The included Quick Start Guide is also a helpful reference tool. More canning information is available at gopresto.com. For a step-by-step video guide of the pressure canning method using the digital pressure canner, watch the companion video.